Hey.
Is this where the One Piece thing is happening?
I think so.
That's what I heard.
I think we're a twin piece, though, right now. Our
yes.
white shirts, you know.
That's true.
Just came off of some power moves, y'all. We working hard before this, you know?
Yes.
Yeah. I was stuffing my face, and what were you up to?
I was sleeping, making tea, and getting ice out of the freezer. The freezer does this thing where water collects at the bottom and then freezes, and then if you let it go too long, you can't open the freezer because it freezes it shut. So,
Madness, I tell you. But welcome everybody.
Welcome.
We're here to shrimp for a goat manga that we have the library of. Here's Punk Hazard. Look at all that goodness.
This is that whole Dressrosa thing.
You know, it was kind of a small arc.
A bit of a small arc.
You know, not a big
only
deal.
What, 9 volumes? 9 volumes?
East Blue was bigger. I mean,
yeah, exactly. 12 chapters a volume, or whatever it was. Yeah.
And then the Zo arc. Nice and le petit déjeuner. But all right, guys, it's time to just hang out and chill and talk about some One Piece, because apparently that mecha show just
you might know of it or heard of it,
something happened. Actually, let's take it seriously.
That's okay.
There was an earthquake and it was pretty scary and stuff. So no episode this week for Attack on Titan,
and we
let's
still have
One Piece.
No idea what we're going to be doing as far as when the double episodes get released at the same time, because that'll be interesting. But yeah.
No, I'm aware of Ray. That's the joke, is that the amount of time they spent in East Blue combining all those arcs is still like nothing comparatively. That's actually one of the things that I noticed upon checking to see like what arcs were going to be the ones we focused on.
Yeah.
I was like, okay, we did Fishman Island as a discussion before, so we're not going to be doing that one here.
Right.
But I was like, oh, right, Punk Hazard, Caesar. In a lot of ways, Caesar Clown is the throughput for these 3 arcs that we'll be discussing today.
I would say he's the glue that ties everything together, but he's a different kind of substance.
Yeah, it's a little bit toxic. You know, in that regard.
Indeed.
So a bit of a problem in that bit there.
Yep.
Yeah. Otis said this arc is worth 2 Blu-ray discs. Wait, what
really?
Arc? What arc are you speaking of? Yes, Dressrosa. Heck!
I came
F
prepared.
for no Fishman Island discussion. The one arc the bros remembered the least. Didn't we discuss Fishman Island, though, in the previous one?
I think we did.
I'm pretty sure we did. Pretty sure. Yeah. 5-hour podcast next week, podcast. No, 100% not. So, definitely. The great hero Caesar. We stand Caesar. Sarcasm. Yes. Who is this Caesar? I only know the gangster Gustino. Okay, that's actually a good point of clarification here. We will not be talking about Whole Cake Art.
Whole Cake Island, yeah.
Whole Cake Island arc.
Right.
In this discussion.
Not yet done.
Yeah, it's not done.
Maybe that was what happened with Fishman Island, is that we were like partway through it, so we talked about it a little bit on like a previous podcast, but never like in like a full like dedicated discussion.
Yeah, it's funny because 66 is the volume where officially the transition between Punk Hazard and Fishman Island happens.
Right.
But it's like 70-80% of the way through. So like remember the bit with all the laboon whales?
Yep.
Yep. They're just...
I almost wanted to call Princess Shirahoshi Princess Shiratorizawa just now.
I understand.
It's different things.
Bit,
very different things.
But y'all, Punk Hazard, kind of a whack arc in the beginning. They had like a random dragon that shows up. Apparently, this whole like area was just a wasteland after 2, gods among men fought, and details. It's a bit ridiculous and stuff. But okay, then we go from that to, hey, there's some experiments going on here. There's like some kind of
kids being fed candy and things.
Some kind of creepy stuff happening with the kids, and it's just like, I don't know. And then it ends up being this really wacky arc with like body switching and like Smoker showing up, like Law forming an alliance with with Luffy, just Law in general, just being involved in a really big way.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And yes.
Yeah.
You are right.
Teasing the stuff with Don Quixote Doflamingo.
That's true.
Then just all in all, the arc was like you look at these 5 volumes, they're actually quite chunky. There's actually quite a lot in these
Got
ones
some
there.
girth.
But in terms of what it was, it's kind of a setup arc.
Yeah, it was fairly short, all things considered.
Yeah,
and
fairly short.
Gotta say, one of the things that constantly blows me away about One Piece, especially knowing about how Oda works on it and everything, is the fact that as long as it is, we can get these arcs that are on their own relatively short, right? I mean, we can talk about the behemoth later, right?
But the one that just kicked Alabasta down the notch and was just like, oh, you want a thick arc.
And yet, in this fairly, contained arc, we got full story, plenty of characters, great moments, and something as wacky and stupid fun as the body switching, so that way we can have, shirtless Tashigi Smoker, and Sanji in Sanji in Chopper's body?
Yeah, it was ridiculous. But for you guys who have all the context of the future stuff in the manga, one of the things that I'm rather curious about, or what are some of those things that we can look back on in Punk Hazard that have all that extra context now that we are a little bit ahead of Punk Hazard? Because for me, it's basically the Don Quixote Doflamingo surprise show up, where it's just hello, I'm here. Hi.
That happened.
And it's just this moment where we're like, oh, yeah, you're one of those 7 warlords. Right. You were at Marineford. You were kind of freaky. But then it's oh, no. Oh, Sanji was in Nami's body.
That's right. He was in Nami's body. And yes, right. Yeah. The only time that he will ever be in Nami. Yeah.
Yes, Kinemon and Momonosuke.
That's true.
Were they initially set up in this arc?
Momonosuke was introduced in Punk Hazard because he was hiding out there, and then Kinemon had been searching for him.
That's right. Okay. Fart Samurai. Oh my god. Yeah. Oh, that's right. The idea of the kids being something that led to the overall conflict with Big Mom, really.
Yep.
In a lot of ways, this was all a bunch of setup for both Dressrosa and Whole Cake Island.
Oh, yeah, and Virgo and Monet being recontextualized because the backstory with Doflamingo and seeing how their whole band sort of, treated each other.
Yep. The giant kids. Yep. That's something we just learned about, really, right now. Even though we knew that the experimentations were on Big Mom's, orders / behalf.
And then also the thing of fact that Kinemon isn't actually Momonosuke's dad.
True.
But that he's, just his bodyguard, basically.
Right. That was revealed in the Zoe arc, I'm pretty sure.
Either the Zoe or the early Whole Cake. I think it was Zoe.
Took a while, so it was at least Zoe, yeah. Mm-hmm. Hey, Blaze Fan 1218 with 100 bits. Aokiji versus Akainu is the best fight we never saw. In my opinion, it always amazes me when we find out that Punk Hazard was a barren plain until they showed up and literally changed the climate not once, but twice. Yeah, that's a pretty cool thing just to remind us that there are gods out there that make everyone on the Straw Hats crew look like, just upstarts.
Yeah, that is one of the things that I would have wondered if in the anime, because it's the whole thing of okay, stretch out the content as much as possible, make sure that we can give Oda some time to get ahead and things like that.
Right.
That almost seems like the thing that they would have wanted to have been let's just spend an episode, or maybe because it's a fight, it would be very, very difficult and stuff, but, spend an episode just doing a fight that normally would have been off screen, but hey, if you want to see it, let's animate it. And,
there's probably, 10 seconds of it in the anime. I'm guessing it wasn't something they put down.
Yeah, there's probably something.
Yeah. We didn't know the relation of Law and Virgo until the end of Dressrosa. That's a very good point. One of the things that was really cool about Law was that they gave him a big arc, like comparatively speaking. Mm-hmm. This is a good size of an arc, because that's 25 chapters or something. approximately?
I'd guess it's probably closer to 50. 50, maybe a little bit more.
Well, actually, we can do a quick look here.
Because
the last chapter in this?
Because there was one in or no, that was Fishman Island. That was 12 chapters, but
so 655 here.
10 in this one.
So 710.
Yeah, 691 to 700.
Yeah. So what was the last one in there?
Oh, 700.
700. Okay, so 45 chapters. Okay.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Yeah, that's pretty legit then. Yeah, and Law being a character that we were, like not expecting anything initially crazy right out the gate. Mm-hmm. He just seemed like a straight man to the Straw Hats' kind of wacky, crazy, over-the-top nature.
And we get to see him slowly get suckered into the Nakama way.
Yeah, and I think that of all the characters that Oda has done with that, I think Law might be the best example.
Yeah.
Because a lot of the characters that end up kind of as just allies of the Straw Hats are like main arc kind of location-based characters, like Vivi,
Right. The main one I can think about other than that is actually Smoker. With things like Alabasta and whatnot, and him sort of finding his path crossing with theirs a bunch. Mm-hmm. But even then, he very much walks his own path. I get the feeling Smoker probably doesn't have the same kind of tragic backstory that Law has to make him vulnerable to the Nakama way.
No, definitely not. And I would say that Law didn't even need that to be done that well as far as a Straw Hat ally. Mm-hmm. The backstory is more for his depth. And it almost has no relation at all to the Straw Hats, really.
Yeah.
He being a character that is an adult, but he's a young, adult.
Right.
So he feels like he bridges that world of the...
He's no Jinbei. Yeah.
Right. He bridges the world of Jinbei and Luffy, basically, really well. Jinbei feels like the kind of elder who is no Whitebeard, who's not going to go around... commanding others to do what he wants. He just seems like a guy who's a good-natured fellow and cares for a lot of other people. But Law has those parallels with Luffy in that he's also a captain. Mm-hmm. He commands, the Heart Pirates. He has responsibilities that basically pull him in a lot of different directions. So yeah, I don't know. I think maybe Law is my favorite non-Straw Hat crew member ally. With maybe characters like Jinbei
or Sniper King,
Vivi. Yeah, there's a couple others. Yeah, he's an honorary Straw Hat.
Right.
Yeah, absolutely.
So Hardback made a great point that Smoker does have a tragic backstory. There was one time where he lost his cigars.
Oh, goddamn.
And it was going anywhere without 2 cigars in his mouth. It's
tragic. Icarus Thorn with the 19 months. This do be a One Piece podcast. OPP. I'm a liar equals Uso. So Usopp. Where am I going with this joke? I have no fucking clue. Good to be subbed again.
Great to have you.
Great to have you back. Yeah. When he screamed, "I hate bread," right after Punk Hazard, that was when I knew that he was too far gone and would never come back. Yeah. Every day Laws to make a wisdom saving throw to not become a little bit more like the Straw Hats. It's true. Their charm is undeniable in that regard. Yeah. He's team Personal Justice, the gray one in between. Personal Justice is actually a really interesting thing because in Punk Hazard, there is this idea of the whole thing being a great injustice, right?
Yeah.
And
hugely.
Chopper's the one that, as a doctor, immediately is reviled by what's going on there. Now, obviously, everyone else is disgusted by what's going on there as well. But I love how this arc in general kind of gave us maybe a little bit of a retreading of some of the formula of other arcs.
Oh, yeah?
But the actual conflict centering around something so dark and so good at giving us the opportunity for very straightforward kind of justice button pushing reactions from the Straw Hats. I feel like it's been a while since we've had that.
Yeah,
because they usually seem like they're more fighting against people who are just kind of greedy and a bit power hungry. Rather than it being about justice, it's about freedom, versus like control.
Yeah, usually I feel like it's something where an individual is in danger or something like that.
Yeah.
That's why they do it. So like freaking Spandam with Robin, right? It's
totally.
Like that's a classic example where you have someone who has way too much power, but the thing is that it's not that they're really pissed at Spandam, it's that they're worried about Robin.
Right.
In this situation, it's a bunch of people that they haven't really met before.
Mm-hmm.
Like, yeah, we get introduced to Kinemon and Momonosuke and things like that, right? But it's the kids, right? It's the fact that these people are having horrible things done to them, and somehow we've got to save them. And that involves beating the shit out of the asshole that did this to them.
Yeah, and having also another bit of a light tease again to Vegapunk, letting us know that there are people out there that are smarter, more powerful in the way that they're mucking with the natural order of things for the purpose of science and all that. I thought that was another little cool build up for something that could potentially be way down the line. But Brownbeard, you guys are hilarious. But setting up future conflicts, introducing a couple characters that end up being a part of Doflamingo's, family was another kind of cool extra bit there. But also, this is the point where I believe the party splits after Punk Hazard. And this is ballsy by Oda here. I'm not still sure he made the best choice with this here. It's really gutsy to have basically an arc where I believe it happens at the end here. I'm going back through this to double check.
It might have been like early on in Dressrosa. I'm not sure.
It might have been, but let me just go through this here because I believe things end up with this being the point where...
Nice, Sir Dave. You could say that Punk Hazard is the post-time skip Drum Kingdom, and Dressrosa is the post-time skip Alabasta. Yeah, it's lots of similarities to previous arcs.
Oh, it's a bit into Dressrosa. Okay, yeah, you guys are right. No, at the end, that's when Doflamingo shows up.
Yeah, this arc was very twisty, I feel like, Punk Hazard. Because there's the whole idea of, okay, we get to this place and we don't really... The whole thing is a mystery from the get-go, right? Because it starts with the SOS and everything, right? We've got to investigate. But then they start to realize what's going on. There are people in this arc that you can't trust that you thought you could originally, right? And then all of a sudden, Doflamingo shows up. And it's like, okay, all right.
Oh, that was such a good part as well. And it did set up in some ways the twisty nature of what would become the ultimate twist upon twist upon twist upon twist arc in Dressrosa. Mm-hmm. Because we're thinking like, oh, they're going to just go to Dressrosa and Doflamingo's already like abandoned his seat. And I am actually like rather curious to hear a lot of your guys' thoughts on Dressrosa, because of all the arcs that we've gone through, really, in the manga, I don't think I've ever felt the pacing be an issue until Dressrosa.
Oh, yeah.
I don't think there's ever been a moment in, like maybe we joke about those cats with Kuro, but like...
Right, it's the...
But like...
Yeah, anytime that I feel like there's something that could come close to being described as a pacing issue in the manga for One Piece that I've experienced so far.
It's over so quickly.
And it's usually tied not necessarily to the speed at which things are moving along,
right,
but just that the thing that's happening on the way to get to the place that we're going, I don't find quite as entertaining. Right. So
exactly.
Things like the cat, people under Kuro or whatever. Mm-hmm. Yeah, they aren't as entertaining as some of the other things that, that we face. So it's kind of like, okay, that part, it's like, might not be a favorite part, right?
Totally.
But then in Dressrosa, the arc is so big.
It's huge.
And the fact that these volumes are just once they like get to Dressrosa, right?
Right.
There's all the setup for this arc before it happens.
Yeah, they get to Dressrosa basically in the beginning of volume 71. There's a little bit in volume 70. But we basically get almost immediately the party splitting up. And this was another thing that I think
made it feel longer.
No, I think if anything, this was Oda saying, I'm going to make this long. I need to remove some characters from this, otherwise it'll be too long.
Gotcha.
So I want to hear your guys' thoughts on this as well, because I feel like I have a a weird take with Dressrosa is that I think it almost needed to have the party split up, but in some ways it suffered for it as well. Is that we need to have we have Chopper, Brook, Nami, Momonosuke end up going with the Sunny,
right?
And I believe that's where Sanji ends up going as well. No. Sanji goes in to town because that's where he bumps into the girl.
Right. It's because this technically is after they've already been in town for a while and things have gone a little bit haywire. So like when they break up the teams, they don't mention Luffy or Sanji or Zoro, I believe, because I think they're already doing other stuff by that point. I'm not sure.
Okay, gotcha. No, yeah, Sanji definitely goes aboard. Yeah.
Also, isn't this
off the island?
Was it Punk Hazard or Dressrosa where we got all those crazy outfits and designs and stuff for Frankie? Because those I can't remember when those started, but those were excellent.
Sanji goes to the town, but he only comes back to the Sunny when Doflamingo attacks.
Gotcha.
Okay. So, yeah, we have Zoro, Luffy, Kinemon, Sanji, and Frankie going to the factory early on. So they're in the few that actually head in there. Oh,
right.
this was
three different groups.
Right. So this is actually one of my favorite things that they did early on was they introduced one of the best members of the Marines in the blind admiral.
Oh, Fujitora. Yeah, Fujitora's great.
Fujitora's kind of bar master kind of introduction where he's like, I'm just an old guy that's here in the bar. And the Straw Hats are, trying to be, subtle and everything. And obviously he's kind of playing the same game, being subtle here. Of course, he gets bullied by,
randos.
No ones.
Yeah.
And just setting it up to be a really great moment where he just obliterates, the whole, area that he's in there.
He's like, you ever seen the show Made in Abyss?
Yeah.
You're about to find what's at the bottom.
I really loved this gimmick being the setup for the themes of Dressrosa was that not everything is as it seems.
Sure.
Or just, in matter of fact, nothing is as it seems.
Right, and that's the one thing you can kind of count on.
Yeah, is that everything has another side to it.
That is one of the other things, though, also that with Dressrosa that I always forget, is how many characters were introduced in Dressrosa, because since the arc is so long, people like Fujitora or Barto, right?
Barto, yes.
I feel like I've known them for a long time because,
True.
well, physically,
I
have.
You
right?
have, yeah.
But the idea that no, they were all introduced in the one not chapter, in the one arc, and then had all of these arcs within that arc, right, where they grew, they progressed, and things like that, and then we end up getting to see what their journey is post arc.
Right. And rather quickly, we also get into the whole Luffy being disguised thing, which led to just another kind of sequence of just bunch of funny moments here.
It felt very like Pippin Paddleopsicopsilate.
Yeah, exactly, from Avatar. But then almost immediately they're just like, and a tournament arc.
Yep.
And this was again one of those moments where I would say, once I figured out, we're doing a tournament arc, and we're gonna have some kind of twist with regards to it. But then they quickly introduced the toy soldier. I believe this was Violet. Yeah, Violet's a little bit with Sanji.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh no, this is too many characters. But it was also just one of those moments where I'm like, we're voicing these characters, but I was like, one, this is going to be too many voices.
Yep.
Two, I'm going to lose track of the names and everything.
My God.
Three, I hope I can stay invested in the tournament arc with have a bunch of names of characters that I'm going to just get introduced to.
Because there was a really good reason for Luffy to be invested, right?
Right.
Ace's flame fruit. Of course you'd want that, right?
Totally.
He doesn't want them going to some random stranger. But at the same time, there's so much other stuff happening. Like the fact that the tournament arc is, while it's a big portion of the arc, and I get that people could be feel like it bogged things down, especially probably with how it would have been handled in the anime and stuff, taking a lot more time.
Yes.
The fact, there was this sense in my mind that the tournament arc is just a blip in this much larger structure. We even got Bellamy returning.
Bellamy came back. There were like 20 characters in the tournament arc that were like practically no names. Like they like,
but they had names.
Even through the arc, they basically get no focus. It's probably closer to a dozen of those people. But like, who remembers Kelly Funk, you know, or Sorcerer Mummy?
Okay, I absolutely remember Kelly Funk, but Sorcerer Mummy, no.
Yeah, exactly.
Like the part when the manga just showed like the A through D block.
Right.
Like,
I got scared.
Can you imagine? You know, being like, oh yeah, reading One Piece live, you know, just two of us and doing voices and things like that. And then all of a sudden it's like, here's a double pager with all the new characters you're going to have. It's like
on the next page is another
And then on the next
page
is another double pager. Yep. It's like, oh, I see.
Jacket fruit killed.
See, how could you have forgotten about
his
that?
His fruit was more interesting than him. That's the point, is that the part about this arc that I really liked was the announcer, Barto, Cavendish, like just absolutely. And then the fact that Luffy was in it as Lucy was fantastic.
Yeah.
But as far as the actual Rebecca, yeah, of course as well, but those are more just jokes that we made. But maybe just the idea that Bellamy was here.
Bellamy, that was like, oh my god.
That was perfect.
Oh.
But I would say that one of the things that this volume had me worried for when I was first reading it was that I was not the target audience anymore for One Piece.
Yeah.
Because
you're not one of the people to get into the power scaling debates.
I'm not.
Yeah.
I'm really not. So I was worried, like, oh no, Oda's kind of hit that point where he's like, I have enough characters introduced that I'm going to bring in a tournament arc. But rather than actually have them be with characters that we've already spent a lot of time with and have them fight each other, I'm going to introduce 95% new characters for the tournament. And I'm supposed to get invested. I was like, oh no.
I will say, I was a little bit frustrated alongside Zoro of like, wait, there's a tournament and you didn't tell
Zoro.
Me? Like, and of course he got, he just wasn't able to find his way to the tournament. But can you imagine? Can you imagine having like, now granted, it was more like big gladiatorial arena kind of a thing.
True.
But can you imagine what it would have been like if Brook and Zoro and Sanji and Sniper King were in there?
Yes, you're absolutely right, Sensei Krillon, and I'm very happy that that's what Oda did. Is that the entire tournament arc was there to set up the Grand Fleet. And basically to give... Are you okay?
Yeah, I just figured I'd finish off the last of the tea.
And you snorted up your nose?
I snorted up my nose, and the tea bags that were in there, because I didn't remove them, that made it so that the last bit of tea was really
You want to
strong.
go like...
I'm fine.
Okay. All right.
Surprised me, though.
Yeah. But having it be a setup for the Grand Fleet, and also just the major characters in the arc that will be fighting at the end when it comes down to everyone versus Doflamingo, you know?
Yeah.
That was a really, really cool setup there.
Yes.
Well, you see, it was all a scheme by Oda, Caleb, to introduce characters for the Straw Hat Fleet later. Yes, exactly.
Yep, totally.
Yep. And thankfully, the arc was actually... The tournament in and of itself doesn't take up that much time of the Dressrosa arc.
And
because the Dressrosa arc is so dang big that the tournament arc is kind of like a... like a 7%, you know? A really, like, exciting 7% with the narrator taking up, like, 3% of that 7%.
Right, but we transition back and forth to the Tontatas and things like that.
Okay, yeah.
And as far as the structure for it, it felt very One Piece, that it's we're going to introduce a bajillion characters for this tournament arc.
Right.
But because we know that these are new characters, we're not going to give them individual fights.
Right.
We're going to set it up, and then it's just going to be a chaotic mishmash.
Yep.
And then we'll basically give you a highlight reel.
Totally.
And then you'll see the results.
Yeah. But almost immediately in the introduction of, well, the whole Colosseum and that whole section of things, Oda struck maybe the gold of genius by introducing better Ewoks. Can you guys like run with me for a second here?
And it's One Piece, so you're already expecting something kind of like that.
Totally, but Oda basically made Ewoks but better in the Tontatas.
Yep, straight up.
Like they're just so much better. They're just so good. They're so adorable. They're so fun. They feel like they fit in the world of One Piece. But not only that, they like evolve the world in a really cool way.
Better walks. Yeah.
The better walks, indeed.
And
thanks for the 1,000 bits, Jenny. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
And BlazeFan1218 with the 100 bits. Thank you. Fujitora was just recruited into the Marines in the 2-year time skip. So what did he do before that? Because I refuse to believe that he was a blind hermit who could just pull meteors from space or just living on a mountain now.
Yeah, exactly. It's like that boy was up to something.
Yeah. Oh my God.
So Usopp is C-3PO. I mean...
Yes. Actually.
Yeah.
In a lot of ways, Usopp is the complainer of the group.
And he's the better C-3PO.
And he is a better C-3PO.
He gets lifted on high and worshipped like a god.
Indeed.
But like...
that he is. I mean, because...
Well, exactly.
God, Usopp.
The amount of character moments that we were able to have in this arc, because like usually with our old like sort of view on Battle Shonen and things like that, we would have equated big arc to lots of padding. Not much of the stuff matters. The characters get bland, that kind of stuff, right? But there were so many different moments for like multiple moments for the same character, right?
Sure.
We're like each of the characters, because this is a big arc, even though they've been previously established, they've got a little journey to go on too.
Yep.
You know?
Yep.
Like and of course Usopp is my favorite, right?
Of course.
Like so
of course.
The fact that, he gets raised up as a god, the fact that he has to go back and and save, like what
Leo?
was it? Yeah, Leo, right?
And the princess?
Right, even though he had forgotten about Robin and everything that happened in Water 7 and Annie's Lobby and whatnot, it's like that's excellent stuff. And then on top of that, we get things like Barto and Bellamy and, all that goodness.
Yeah. So in the same breath as introducing the Corrida Coliseum, which is kind of like its own little world location, he introduces, the village of the Tontatas, which are these things that the people of Dressrosa believe to be fairies. So giving us another kind of things are not as they seem. And we're kind of getting guided along through this by this toy soldier that's very mysterious, and we can tell that he's more than what he seems, but we don't know how he's connected and what he's connected to.
Exactly. We also got Usopp's hockey.
Okay, there's a lot of people that actually show up in these couple arcs here to just have their hockey, and it's a really cool just kind of establishment that over the course of the time skip, a lot of these characters just got stronger. But at the end of the second volume of the Dressrosa arc, we end up getting the showdown between Fujitora, Doflamingo, and actually I think it's the beginning of the third volume, 73. That's right. But we get it teased a little bit in 72. But this showdown where 3 just GOAT power level characters all just end up ready to show down, and it's
throw hands and
it's something that the world of One Piece can do because the conflict doesn't have to entirely revolve around the main characters, the Straw Hats, basically.
Oh man, there's just so much in this arc.
Dofi, best One Piece villain. I think you might be right.
I think so.
It's really tough to say, and part of that is because he occupies such a large amount of, Dressrosa was such a long arc, and yet we're not really fighting him directly through most of it. He's if you're making an evil, super powerful, super intelligent villain, one of the main archetypes is the master manipulator, right?
Sure, and then they got to have their henchmen and things like that.
Yeah.
And you got to make it so that the henchmen actually feel like they're like the showing the conflicts of the main characters beating those henchmen is worth doing.
Yes, that's true.
Kind of backtracking a little bit, but I think that's one of the things that worked so well with Punk Hazard is that we didn't know that Caesar was a henchman.
True.
Right? So we take his conflict seriously because we're like, okay, here's this guy who's doing all this crazy stuff. And then when we're already pretty close to defeating him, we start to realize, oh, okay.
Yeah, he has a backstory.
He's got a backstory and he's got connections, right?
Yes.
And then all right, as we take him down, we start to realize who we've really been fighting.
Yeah. I think that what might be weird to say here is that Dofi is the best person of a villain. Like, like of all the villains that we've faced in One Piece, I understand how his person came to be.
Sure.
The part that's weird about him as a villain with regards to his conflict is I think that there are other more powerful conflicts that center around other villains that would make Dofi like a second place, like kind of conflict because he's attached to the Dressrosa arc, if that makes sense.
Sure.
But I would say that Dofi as a person is the most interesting villain by a good margin.
Yes, like
a very solid margin.
The main competitor I would see for Dofi, and I think we mentioned this at one point, earlier, but not in this stream, but in a different one, that it would be Spandam, right?
Yeah,
so the thing is that they're completely different types of villains.
Very
right?
different types of villains.
Like it almost feels like using the word villain to describe the two of them doesn't work. Like you'd want a separate word for each of them, right?
Right.
And Spandam's thing is that it was because of his close connection to Robin and everything. It wasn't because of him as a person, right?
Yeah, which makes Spandam less interesting.
Right. He was a representative force, right? Yeah. And it was awful, right? But it was very personal.
Yeah.
In the case of Dofi, no. This is a person.
Yeah.
This is a person with connection to people and things like that has done some pretty crazy things and is going to continue to do those crazy things unless he's stopped.
Yeah, I understand, Iggy, that Blackbeard and Akainu being your favorites, probably because they're just so powerful as well. And Akainu and Blackbeard both took very important people out of this world.
Yep.
So that hurts. Like, in terms of body count for villains. They actually have a body count,
Right. Yeah, I was gonna say, if you say highest, I'm gonna be like, well, yeah. I mean, when the body count is 0, a lot of the time,
Right. Yeah, but Ramiz, exactly. The Dofi Law Corazon stuff is super powerful and emotional. I think that's the point that I'm probably gonna spend, of course, the most time discussing in Dressrosa once we get to that part, because that is. Quite honestly, that's my favorite part about Dressrosa.
I get that. Yeah.
Corazon, Law, Dofi, backstory, the layers of it, the different perspectives, how all of them have a slice of the story, and it shapes who they are in very, very dramatic ways.
And that's one of the other things that I think is like, because when people say that Dressrosa's weakness is its size, I'm like, yes, I get that, but at the same time, its strength is its size because you couldn't do a backstory like a set of black pages like Law's, with Corazon and everything, and have it be that long, but then also that worked into the conflict for the whole arc.
Yeah,
if the arc was shorter. Right, it wouldn't work. It wouldn't have that same effect. Like the fact that we spend a good amount of time in Dressrosa before we even get to Law's backstory, right?
Yeah.
Like we know that it's personal with Dofi apparently because of the stuff at the end of Punk Hazard, but that's about it, right? Like we don't really know more than that. And then when we get it, it's like, okay, there we go. But the arc is not over by any stretch of the imagination, right? That's sort of just when like we know what the real conflict is, right? Beyond just the city conflict. We know what the personal one.
Totally. All right. So once we get our throwdown between Law, Fujitora, Doflamingo, we get the idea that this conflict is a bit larger than just Dressrosa.
Yeah.
And this is where I think Oda started to, and we didn't even maybe realize it at the time, but Oda was starting to flex his muscles a little bit because he might have, now this is maybe a bit meta talk here, but I think Oda realized that once he did Marineford, he had to build up to something even bigger eventually.
Right.
I still don't think we've hit anywhere close to what will be the next Marineford.
I don't think so either.
I think we're still like multiple arcs away from something like that.
Yeah, but we're getting there.
But we are getting there.
Like
the Big Mom stuff is evidence.
Emperors are being brought into the mix. We're gearing up for it.
Right. But in order to have that, we need a world conflict with Luffy and the Straw Hats being a force that is not reacting to it, but they are proactively shaping the world narrative, which means in some ways that the world government is going to be weaker in terms of their direct influence in a lot of these things there. So Fujitora kind of being this new wave of the world government, I think is really exciting because he's a He's a middle ground, balanced perspective. He will cast Meteor Storm on you, just like Akainu in a lot of ways, but it's not going to be petty.
Right.
It's going to be because, well, this needs to be done.
Yeah, he is in a lot of ways the perfect contrast to Akainu. Because now that our super chill frosty friend is gone, right? Not gone, but you know, like
doing his
separate thing, right?
Yeah.
We kind of need someone to help balance out Akainu, and let's face it, Kizaru is not going to be that. Like Kizaru will not be that at all. Yeah. And Fujitora is someone that holds strongly enough to his ideals and is unafraid of the consequences to himself for his actions, that he will do the things that are disruptive. He will go, you know, and basically flip off the world government because this is the right thing to do. Yep.
Yeah, I very much like him as a lawful neutral kind of character. He very much kind of fulfills that aspect of things. But over the course of these volumes, we slowly get introduced to the underworld of Dressrosa.
Yep.
And I think that this was probably one of those parts where there was multiple highlights with regards to Dressrosa. And also, it was probably where the pacing was maybe getting a little bit middling there, because we had to get introduced to all of Doflamingo's family.
Sure.
So we get a nice, steady drip feed of new characters and how their powers and influence in Doflamingo's story, maybe teased a little bit more, not explicitly stated, built the foundation for the way Dressrosa is right now.
Yeah, if we were to count up all the different layers to Dressrosa that Oda basically set up, like we've got the regular Dressrosa introduction.
Yep.
We've got the tournament. We've got the underworld side of it.
The Tontatas.
We've got the Tontatas. Yep. We've got the backstory of the country, right? And then we've got the backstory of
Rebecca was
Dofi's crew.
Right. Rebecca was the backstory of the country's kind of focus point.
Right, exactly. Yeah. Like there were a lot of different layers to this whole new place that we're getting to.
Yeah. And meanwhile, the tournament arc is heading towards its conclusion, but all along the way, we're getting basically set up for where we're going to have a revolution. But in order to do that, we need to have our heroes in their own different locations being set up to be a part of this underworld here. And that's where Usopp just takes the crown for me. Usopp takes the absolute crown for me this volume for what he did with the Tontatas in the underworld side of things.
Yeah, it was so good.
And that moment where Leo was like, no, Usopp would never lie. Usoland would never lie. I remember the emotion from that bit strong.
I gotta say, that is one of the best parts about voice acting all the characters going through One Piece, is that it forces you, in order to really act it out, you have to step into the emotional state of the characters, right? Yep. And it's exhausting to do.
It is.
It is exhausting to do, but it's so much fun, because then it's not just I see this happening, it's this is happening to me kind of a thing, right? And oh man, like
if you guys don't remember that moment where Usopp's full-on just face of pure
pain and anguish and
just like having that be the thing that sets off the chain of events that leads to the revolution is the perfect One Piece chaotic madness that makes just perfect sense to work, but also is such a beautiful bit of fan service to all of us who have been, reading since the beginning and remember the Ineru face, remember just all those moments where Usopp's courage was tested and he failed.
Yep.
Usopp's, just fear, and now here he's, oh my God, just, it was such a good moment.
Like there was, okay. A friend of mine that I play Pathfinder with, he basically will regularly ask and be like, so where are you guys at in the manga, right? Where are you guys at in the manga?
Oh, right.
And at the whole thing with Usopp and all the wonderful stuff that happened in Dressrosa, of course he was like, yes, because he also loves Usopp. But then he sent me this meme where it's like the two people shaking hands, and it's like, oh, I like One Piece. Oh, I also like One Piece. I don't like Usopp. And then it shows the person washing their hands. And it's like, Usopp is that character that I never would have really expected in a battle shonen, and certainly not to be handled in this way, right? He would either stick to just the comedic relief, or he would end up like getting powers so that he could kind of fight, or that basically that would remove the focus from the fact that it's about the very fact that he can't fight, not in the same way other people can, right? And the fact that simple kind of courage and sort of stupid bravery, because it's the right thing to do in the face of ever escalating, overwhelming odds. I love that shit.
Yeah. Do you think that Usopp has accomplished his goal yet? Is he a brave warrior of the sea?
He is, but the thing is, it's not about the destination, it's about the journey for him, because he will never truly see himself as that, I think.
Yeah, and that's part of his own self-consciousness and his own I would say maybe a bit of inferiority complex.
Yeah, it's the way that in Harry Potter, all of the main characters are from the other houses, but they decided to be brave. They decided to go into Gryffindor, right?
Yeah.
It's Usopp, every time he makes the decision to do that thing because it's the right thing to do, he is by definition being a brave warrior of the sea.
Yeah.
Right? But he will never truly see himself as that, because he focuses on the warrior part of it. Not really the brave part of it.
Exactly.
But he still makes the decision.
Exactly. Perkins85 with the 100 bits. I offer this tithe to the Church of God, Usopp. Indeed.
Thank you.
Red Alchemist 8 with the Twitch Prime for 5 months in a row for 24 total. Hey, 2 years, Red Alchemist.
Awesome.
Got you. Sorry I'm late. Was getting snacks for tomorrow's stream. And then I heard you were talking One Piece and rushed home. Oh, well. Sorry you're late. It's okay. It's okay. Like it's all good. Okay, to put it in simple levels, all of Punk Hazard, Dressrosa, and even Zoe's build up to Kaido, since Law told Luffy to take Kaido down in Punk Hazard, and from there we destroyed their maker Caesar, the supplier Dofi, and now in Zoe joined the Minx and Samurai to take Kaido down in Wano, but Oda said Sanji stuff comes first, and we diverted to another Emperor of the Sea.
Yep.
In a lot of ways, I feel like the Sanji diversion will be something that will aid them in
Kaido?
the Kaido fight.
Yeah.
Because I really do see a potential world where some parts of Big Mom's crew, people, what have you, will become like followers of Luffy and the Straw Hats.
I'm really excited to see how it plays out, because I feel like
now there's a recent thing that happened in previous volume regarding that whole marriage situation. So we'll see how it actually ends up. But for now, that's my theory. I'm really hoping for is Usopp to take some of the Elbaf warriors, take some sort of Elbaf warrior test and basically win Sokka style.
I mean, that would be great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love it.
But I feel like even if he did that, and maybe that would be the point where he realizes, no, Usopp, you've been a brave warrior of the sea all along. There's a reason that you have been, held up and worshipped as a god.
Yeah.
It's because of that kind of bravery.
Yeah. Okay. So, Sugar's knocked out. All the toys become untoyified.
Yep.
Things go into pure chaos. And I love the idea that at this point, Usopp, who's unconscious, just lying down
covered in blood and tears and snot,
is being cheered as the hero. And Doflamingo, this what are they called? The celestial gods, celestial beings?
Celestial dragon, but then also dragons. Emperor or warlord of the sea.
Yeah. Right. Well, he's a celestial dragon, basically a god in this world here.
500 million
knows the name Usopp.
Yeah.
As the most feared person that's disrupted his entire country.
Puts him on a higher level than Luffy.
Actual god Usopp.
Yeah.
I cannot tell you how much joy this gave me when it happened. And
one of the things that I love about this is that when that happens, Usopp isn't really conscious for the exact moment that it happens, right? Because that's what I love about Usopp. He does all these things that are awesome, but he doesn't think of them as being awesome and heroic, right? Yep. It's just something that I have to do, right? Because he's following his own Brave Warrior of the Sea code.
Right.
And then other people acknowledge it, and then later it's like, oh, wait, 500 million, wait, what? How many people are chasing? Oh, God. You're right here. What? Okay. All right. let's go. Right.
Oh my god.
It's just.
But then the moment where all the people in the crowd raise him up, and they're all like, "What will he say? What will his divine essence speak upon us?"
And he could barely speak.
So he's like, and just the way in which everyone, in the same way that they did with Buggy in a lot of ways, raise him up, and it's so funny. Yep. Like, of all the moments to have just this pure catharsis of not just Usopp being raised up in this way, not just the comedy of it, but just the idea that he's going to wake up eventually, and all these people will be following him and like, "We wait on your command."
Yep.
Captain Usopp, you know. It's just, it's so good. So good. Yeah, Usopp pretty much ruined a decade of hard work of Dofi's. God, indeed.
Yeah.
And then immediately after that, we get the confirmation that, yes, that was Sabo back then. And here he is with the rest of the Revolutionary Army agents here. And everything's about to go down. We get Law. We get freaking legend, Rebecca's father. What was his name? Kairos, yeah. The one-legged goat, and everything's basically just falling apart here. And then we get this ultimatum from a villain who I kind of don't like have any issues with the "I will just kill everyone" kind of thing, because it's not that he's going to kill everyone.
He's going to make them kill everyone.
Well, right, that too. But also, he's just going to reset. He's like, "I don't care about any of this. I can just do it again. You guys pushed me to hit my self-destruct button.
I'll do it.
I'll do it.
Fucking do it."
Yeah. I love where the button is not just it will be pressed in 20 minutes, which, by the way, One Piece has relied on that dramatic tension building technique almost too many times at this point.
Right, crocodile literally being like, "Here's some crocodiles, you'll get flooded and you'll drown." And
Why not? Yeah. It's not a problem. It's just a thing
great.
where if you're gonna do it, why not have the thing be, "No, I press the button immediately." You have only this space now. And we're Fortniting this. It's just
right, and it's also something where he stands to gain something by having them work for him, and that's why it doesn't just close immediately. Because he's basically like, "Hey, you all start working for me, and I might spare you." You know, and all of a sudden
he weaponized the whole country to try and fight back, and immediate civil war.
But
and yet,
what's a king to a god? You know, like when you come right down to it, Dofi. You were outmatched. This battle was over before it even began.
IBG Music with the 100 bits. The God Usopp worship scene was reading comprehension error at its finest, only rivaled by Buggy and Impel Down.
Yep.
Well said.
And if there ever comes a point where the followers of Buggy and Usopp have to decide which religion should be dominant.
Why not both? You know?
I mean,
who says there has to be only one god? I mean,
Usopp and Buggy just like have a debate, for their followers.
Actually, they look at each other and their thoughts through their mind are, "We don't want to actually fight because then they would then our followers would realize how weak we are."
So they just go up and shake hands.
And they're just like, "Hey,
happened to you too, huh?"
All right. Yeah, exactly. And then they turn to their followers and like, "We will become gods together." And then it's just like, "Whoa!" And then they're both like kind of staring at the other person like, "I'm gonna become like the king of the pirates, or I'm gonna become a great warrior of the sea." And it's just like their goals actually don't conflict at all, and yet there's going to be some drama surrounding this.
They meet randomly, and
there's no reason to be drama.
Usopp is talking to Buggy and about what happened, and Buggy's like, "First time,"
First time, yes. But okay. Battle Royale time.
Yep.
It forces the classic thing of we're going to have all these characters fight these characters, and then we're going to have a bunch of mini fights going off at any given time. And, in some ways this is like the second tournament, kind of sorts, where it's more of a free-for-all with, Dofi's
we're not in the
crew
stadium
and family
anymore.
And stuff, but it's outside the stadium. There are no rules really here. And that led to a lot of good funny moments. But most of the fights in general,
like
yeah, of course. But most of the fights in general, they were there to showcase how everyone has grown, but also which of the members of the actual tournament in the Corrida Coliseum will be eventual kind of Straw Hat allies. So that was exciting.
Great minds think alike, Vray.
Yeah, but I'm waiting for that point in the here where we end up getting
Which
where
part?
is it, the sniper shot.
Oh yes,
my
in the observation hockey. Well, that's
one of my favorite moments in just the One Piece manga.
Like Oda did such a good job. Yeah, here it is. Of setting up the point where we would need a perfect sniper shot, right?
Yeah.
Because yeah, if you have something where someone can touch someone and just erase them from existence, basically, yeah, that's kind of a problem. And then all of a sudden it's like, okay, and when Usopp's like talking about all the different like environmental factors and everything,
calling out the environment. With
he has the perfect spotter too, who's like, I can observe the entire city and everything.
You see the windows. There are bars in the windows. How many bars? 1 vertical, 3 across. The bottom of the window is about 4 feet off the ground. Sugar's height is around the same. How big are the bottom panes? 20 inches wide, 16 inches tall. It's gonna be close. Sugar's right in front of them and closing. The target's beyond the wall. If I miss, Luffy's gone.
And you know what I love about this? Usopp was trying to do this without hockey.
Yeah.
Think about that for a second. There's the fact that he gets hockey and it's awesome. It's wonderful. It's so cathartic, right?
Because he tries with this and his spirit is so motivated with this.
It unlocks it, right?
It unlocks his observation hockey. Yeah.
But he was going to try and make this shot cold turkey vanilla. He had the perfect spotter, but he was gonna try and do it. That is the gumption of this mad lad, right?
It's so good.
He's like, all right, I'm going to put in all these multi-staged rockets to the projectile, basically, and be like, all right, and this is a slingshot. This is basically a slingshot. Think about it. Usopp's rubber band,
Mm-hmm. Oh my god. Yep. And he launches the whole thing there, which then boosts it the next bit there. Oh my god. All the Usopp kind of commentary of what he needed to do in order to set this up was just pure joy. And we get not just the realization that Usopp's going to hit his target, but what he shot at his target was not something that was intended to hit. But it was intended to scare the shit out of her again. And with her PTSD of seeing that Usopp face before.
Yeah.
But then we get it again.
Because this also kind of Dressrosa's one of the potential problems with snipers in narrative, right? Is that if you have snipers just solve everything, that becomes kind of a problem. And if it's based on combat, having them just kill someone from far away or defeat them or whatever, that can be not as interesting. But in this situation, because it's not actually defeating her in the traditional sense in some combat thing, and it's because of previous character decisions and choices that Usopp made, right? That just makes it all the better.
Yeah. And just the way in which we've been giving him the raising up of him being God Usopp, but then he enacts actually the God shot.
Right. And it's and
smites a non-believer from a mile away.
Dofi gave him that 500 million berry bounty, and it's okay, yeah, it made sense that he had it, but there, Usopp just earned it all over again.
Right.
Right?
Make it $1 billion now, everyone. Make it $1 billion.
500 million is not enough, Dofi. It is not enough.
That is amazing. And all this is to give Luffy the opportunity to be a part of the final battle, which if he was not there, Doflamingo would have killed Law.
Right.
Law is really strong.
But that would,
That would have been it.
And we don't even want to think what would have happened if everyone forgot Luffy.
Yeah.
My
God.
What would One Piece be like? He basically just saved One Piece, even though they might have gotten Luffy back eventually.
Of course, yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
We would have basically existed in a non-One Piece One Piece.
Right. Yeah. And it's also the classic thing where the bro of the main character gives the main character the opportunity to go and
push
fight
forward
the good fight,
and
push forward and not have to worry about
Ganbate. Right.
And Luffy, actually getting to stand in front of, Doflamingo on his throne at the final ascent to the pyramid and all this kind of cool setup stuff is great and all, but it's really not Luffy's fight. Like, this is Luffy being an ally, like a good ally to Law. Right. And then he's like, yeah, we're going to stop you. One, you're a douchebag,
Right.
Doflamingo.
But also Law's my friend, Traffy.
This is my friend here.
Yeah, he's part of my crew. No, I'm not. No, you are.
Yeah, exactly. So we end up getting all the build-up for that executed here. Bellamy is, of course, manipulated to fight Luffy on behalf of Doflamingo, and that was just heartbreaking. Like, I could never have guessed way back before Skypiea that we would actually be crying for Bellamy. For Bellamy all the way back, like all the way up here. Like wow.
It's one of those things where we can talk about the trope of like battle shonen, and it's like beat the shit out of somebody to make them your best friend, right?
Totally.
But there are, I don't know what it is, but in One Piece, it's something that feels like it totally fits, and yet at the same time, it's with characters that I never would have expected.
Yeah.
Like, there are times in other battle shonen and stuff where I expect it with the character, right? Totally. Where it's like, okay, they'll fight, they'll become besties, and it'll be great. Bellamy was not one of those. He's like, it was because of Bellamy that all the stuff in Water 7 happened.
Yeah.
He broke the Going Merry.
Yep.
Right?
Yep.
Like, he killed her, basically.
He did. Yep.
We almost had Usopp leave the Straw Hats because of it.
Yeah.
And now, we're crying over the fact that he's being forced to fight Luffy.
And Dofi takes some serious hits during this fight. And while they cut to a bunch of the other fights, it was really cool seeing Law combo his powers with Luffy. I think that one of the things that we've rarely seen in One Piece, and it's almost a pure shame, but we don't see that many team-ups from the Straw Hats. And I understand it's harder to write or draw fights where it's 2v1 or 2v2.
Yep.
But why have we had so few squad moments from the actual Straw Hats?
Usually
it's 800 plus chapters or whatever.
Right. Usually the squad moments are the squad walk. Right?
Yeah, we squad walk together.
Like we go up to which one of you guys is Arlong, right? It's like, okay, squad moment, right? But it's not actually a squad fight. It's a squad moment. Yeah. But then they all do sort of their separate things.
Yeah. We got a lot of bits reading in here. 1 second. I don't know if someone said it because I was coming in late, stupid daylight savings, but I'll say it anyway. Dressrosa is basically the world of One Piece in miniature. It's a place ruled by Celestial Dragon, who is thought to be the just regime, but in fact is no better than brutal pirates, who years ago overthrew the actual good rulers and recast them as villains, same as the Will of D, who rule the island, or rule the land from the giant mountain located in the center of the country, just like Marioa. And this is part 1, Bayonort's thing there, and then Bayonort's another 100 bits. Thank you so much. Also, did I mention Doflamingo is a celestial dragon? Right, exactly. He basically created his own world government since he couldn't return to the Holy Land on the Red Line. That is one of the many reasons I love this arc. Thank you. Thank you very much, Baynort. And BlazeFan1218 with 100 bits. I have to head out, so I will catch this VOD later. See you guys tomorrow for the volume.
See ya.
See you then. Yeah, for those of you that are coming in and are like, hey, who are these guys? What are they talking about? We are dramatic manga readers of One Piece, and we do a stream once a week on Tuesdays at 3 p.m. Pacific time, where we read one volume a week and do dramatic over-the-top voices. And it is fun, and we are currently somewhere around like volume 85 or something like that.
Something like that, yeah.
I don't remember which volume we're on necessarily. But we're going through a bit of discussion on the
New World stuff, pre-Whole Cake.
Pre-Whole Cake, exactly. Yeah. But okay.
Oh, yeah, that's right. The most squad fight probably would have been Thriller Bark with giant oars. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, and that was
but
awesome.
That's how long ago it
right,
was.
well, that's how long ago it was, and that's what it took in order to get a true squad fight, right? Because for someone as big as Oars, right, it makes sense. You need a lot of people to take him down. Yeah. With someone where it's a single person, it feels a lot harder to justify it because you want it to look and feel awesome, right? The fact that it's Luffy by himself versus Dofi, it's like, yes. If it was, all the Straw Hats like ganging up on Dofi and kicking the shit out of him.
In a lot of ways, that's what I think Kaido's gonna be. Is that Kaido is so big that he's basically a world boss in an MMO.
Yeah. Yeah.
Or at least a raid boss.
Right, and he is also big enough to make it feel like he is another entity, right? He is the king of beasts.
But okay, favorite part in Dressrosa. Starts in chapter 761 and goes a bit into chapter 762. And we get Corazon. Mm-hmm. Corazon's introduction as a character is one that I did not see this coming in the slightest bit.
Yeah.
And as far as an emotional hit, I love brother stories. Just brother stories in general are really good. It is really tough, though, to do an original take on the good brother, bad brother story, though.
Yes, and the fact that it was done with the antagonistic figures. Yes. Like, it wasn't Law. Exactly. He was just able to look in on it.
Right. This is this is such a good backstory because Law is the outsider kind of coming into all this.
Yep.
And Corazon is basically the brother he never had, And the fact that over the course of this, Law could have become, someone like Doflamingo.
Sure.
Like, he could have basically cursed the world and, lamented the very day he was not just born, but fallen in with a crowd like the people that Doflamingo ended up being, kind of becoming his family with, but also kind of warped him and fed that darker side of him.
Like, didn't he literally show up strapped with a bunch of grenades? When his backstory started?
I mean, I don't know if that was immediate, but definitely not immediately. But that is a part that happens at some point, yeah. But it's just one of those things where we realize, oh shit, like a lot of these characters that we end up having to kind of go back through their black pages basically and learn a little bit more about them. It's like, okay, we know we're going to get things really like hit. Like things are going to hit us really like hard in the heart there. And we're going to be like, oh, here come the feels. Mm-hmm. But this was a character that entirely existed in the backstory.
Yep.
And the feels with him hit just as hard as they did with Law.
Oh yeah, like, and that's one of the things that I just love about how Oda does backstories and stuff, because whether you're talking, like Chopper and Dr. Fuck.
Huh?
Oh my god.
Doctor? What are you talking about? Kureha?
No, not Kureha. I wanted to say Kureha. It's
in
a man dies
story?
when he's forgotten. Why am I forgetting his name?
Well, just move on. We're not talking about him right now.
No. Okay.
It's okay. I know what you mean. We know who you mean.
The idea of having characters that are basically introduced entirely as the Hero Luke, yes, gotcha. as the mentor figures, the people that basically take the child under their wing.
Yeah.
And specifically when a child is going through something where they are emotionally emotionally unbalanced, vulnerable, etc., right? With Chopper feeling he's a monster, Nami being like, okay, well, we're not your real daughters, things like that, right? And then we scale it up to 11 with Law because he shows up with grenades strapped to his chest, right? And then here's this person who we never would have expected to actually be someone that would care for him, right? Like, at first we were worried if he was gonna, turn him into Dofi or something like that, right? Like
totally, yeah.
The way him and Law originally interacted in the backstory was not simpatico, right?
Right.
But then by the end of it, they have a bond that goes beyond any kind of blood or any kind of past.
Yeah. And God, Law's story was brutal. But realizing that that Doflamingo story was so similar in a lot of ways as well, giving us this really dark, kind of twisted look of where we're like, oh shit, he was a victim.
Yeah.
And completely warped his own perspective. Just because of not just that, but a combination of a bunch of things, leading, I would say, us to a very kind of dark understanding of sorts with Doflamingo. And that's always a little bit uncomfortable when you're realizing, oh, I in some ways sympathize a lot with this insert,
right, yeah,
screwed up type of person here. And then you go,
right, because it wasn't just backstory for Law.
No.
Right, it's backstory for him and Dofi.
Yep. And then Corazon being kind of the third party in
the glue that connects them and everything, and yeah.
Right. And another thing, Corazon kind of being the one that has the whole twist of, well, he doesn't speak, so that's something where, okay, gotcha, that's his gimmick, I gotcha, but he's being just a good guy, so it's like, okay, I'm sure there must be some PTSD he's dealing with from the fact that he survived that whole thing that Dofi did. Okay, that's really sad, but I gotcha. But also his constantly being, not being self-aware about when he's catching on fire or something like that. And it's
clumsiness,
yeah, we're like,
falling over.
Okay, it's sweet, But
it was
never,
also evil foreshadowing.
Yeah, exactly. It never felt like it went into goofy territory too much. But then when we got the twist of where he's like, no, I actually can speak. Yeah. And you better not,
my brother is a monster.
Yeah. Do not follow in the footsteps of Dofi. Please don't. Yep. That's where I think this section of the arc went from great to goat in terms of some of my favorite backstory kind of stuff that they've ever done in One Piece. And thus we get volume 77 where, oh my god, the fact that we learn a lot more about what it means, because
being
Law
a celestial dragon and
but also
D and
the D part, basically, that Law being a D, that makes things a lot bigger again, and leading to probably one of my favorite little kind of context twists in that Sengoku was in some ways kind of the one looking out for Corazon and was the father to him.
Right, in the sort of pseudo grandfather to Law. Yeah.
Right, exactly. But that means in a lot of ways that's the difference between, again, Corazon and Dofi.
Right.
Is that Dofi believed his father was this horrible man who failed him.
And then he found Treble.
But Corazon ended up being out and about doing his stuff, then bumped into Sengoku, who took him under his wing, and has all this off-screen stuff that we can only just kind of guess and assume with regards to the fact that, Corazon ends up being a Navy spy.
Right.
But
I want to point out,
oh, it's so good.
Corazon could have found Akainu. He could have found, and yes, the fact that Sengoku, really, really started to treat him like a son and everything, that was what made him actually stick around and things like that. But Corazon was very lucky in that sense.
Very lucky.
That he found Sengoku. Not just that he found someone, but specifically that it was Sengoku.
Yep. God. I love everything with the Corazon kind of moment where he's staring down Doflamingo, and they're kind of setting up the trap, but Doflamingo is wise to it.
Right.
Ends up having everything set up there.
And Law tells literally the one Marine that he couldn't tell,
was not supposed to tell. That made that, that was so brutal.
Yep.
God, I'm trying to find the specific panel here, but here it is. It's when Law is in the chest, and
it's made completely silent and everything.
Yep, it's made completely silent.
Uh-huh.
And the two brothers have their moment staring down with Corazon pointing the gun at Doflamingo.
Yep.
God, this...
To almost give Dofi the excuse to kill him.
Yeah. God, this bit was just was just so good because you can tell that Dofi does not want to do this. Like, he's not happy about this.
Yeah, he's torn up on the inside too.
Right, of course he hates that he got betrayed by Corazon. And he's like, yeah, I expected this.
But then at the same time, it's
why do I have to go through this again?
Right, because his whole thing was, I've been alone. I've been the outcast. I've been the one that was persecuted for who I was, right? You know, being a celestial dragon and all that. You were the one person that we had each other's back, right? I thought.
Right. God.
Okay.
And it is just brutal to look over again because I really loved the idea that Corazon was this character that, because we hadn't seen him around, we're like thinking in the back of our head, oh, he can't be around.
Nope.
In the story, unless he gets like escapes to the Navy, right?
Right. If he was still around in the story,
he would be with like Sengoku or something.
Well, and Law wouldn't have to join the Straw Hats in order to learn, like the effect of the Straw Hats on Law wouldn't be as strong, right? Because he would still have a present example of that in his life.
Yeah.
But he doesn't, because it's gone. It was taken away from him.
Yeah.
And that's why he can't help but sort of get, drawn into that whole Nakama way.
Yeah. And the stuff they do with sound on that is really, really, really cool as well.
I cannot say enough how much I love it when manga gets into the idea of silence. Because you're already imagining
what the sound would be.
Right? Because you're reading a manga, right? But then when it's like, no. Let's communicate silence.
Yeah, exactly, Sacronia. Why did you make me do this? Yeah. Anime did an outstanding job with that Korra and Dofi episode. Yeah. Korra's Law, I love you. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Huh.
And then, of course, we have to collapse back to that main fight, for the
fate of Dressrosa.
For the big boss and for these two who, both lost a brother, someone that they loved. One who, yeah. It's just a really powerful moment too, because this makes it feel like it was really Law's arc to come to this fight here, and Law being a character that was introduced rather well. The follow-up on his introduction was done rather well, and that, well, he's also a D like Luffy, so he is an enemy of the gods. So.
And he got the Straw Hat treatment, like he got the same kind of treatment that we would have expected, like that we got with Vivi, or or any of the other Straw Hats. And if Law isn't technically a Straw Hat, that's fine.
Right.
In a lot of ways, that's also kind of foreshadowing the whole idea that the Straw Hats are going to become a lot bigger than just the Thousand Sunny.
Yeah,
right?
Definitely.
Which this arc gets into with the Navy, for Luffy and everything.
Right. But the amount of also technical little things that they do in the fight against each other made the feeling of, well, in a lot of ways, this being probably the one fight that would be exceptionally cool to see in the anime, almost more than any of the other fights, because there's so many little like technique things that they're doing against each other.
Interplays of like the powers and all that.
Yeah, and of course, Law's power room is
ridiculous.
It's one of the coolest devil fruits in.
It is truly the OP fruit.
It is. It is actually the OP fruit. Yeah.
Other than, of course, sugar, because that's just ridiculous.
For sure. Oh, wow. A lot more bits from Bayanort here. Let me go through these here. Bayanort with the 100 bits. Oh, and one more thing regarding Dressrosa as One Piece world in a nutshell. Just like the world government erased an entire century from the world's memories and used buster calls to suppress the truth and resistance, Don Quixote family has his own way of silencing unwanted stuff in form of sugar. Yeah. Bayanort with 100 bits again. Many people say post-time skip isn't as good as pre-time skip, but that's the thing. We still haven't finished the first storyline of the New World. Mr. Mori talked about this, and the story structure has shifted with the time skip, just like it did in East Blue to Grand Line transition. The first 100 chapters are self-contained, villain of the week type stories, and the storylines over multiple arcs only start with the Baroque Works saga. Now we have a storyline that carries over in sagas, not just arcs. That is the Kaido storyline that started in Punk Hazard in the Doflamingo saga and now continues in his current 4 Emperor saga. And hell, if Big Mom goes down this saga, then it's a conflict that started in Fishman Island. So the entire post-time skip is a one big super saga. And is that so, then is it fair to compare the halves of One Piece? The first storyline isn't finished yet. That's what we were talking about with Marineford.
Well, yeah. And that's
what we were saying, is that Marineford was the capitulation of the grand line kind of center right there. Yeah.
And with One Piece, like you know, it's battle shonen, but the fights are not the things that are the big draw of it, right? It's the characters, but then it's also the world. Because the world of One Piece is huge, right? And it makes sense. It's an adventure story, right? So it's all about exploring this crazy world that we're in. So as it goes on, as it gets bigger, the length of One Piece is just part of the awesome charm, because that's just more time for the world to get bigger and bigger and crazier and crazier.
Yep. IBG music of the 100 bits. Corazon might have died a silent death, but his actions will be what's heard the loudest in the end. By saving Law's life, this whole shebang started.
Yep.
And I love that Law did really well to actually give Doflamingo a run for his money, but ultimately we need Luffy to be the one to end this. And we go through a whole bunch of other fights that, you know, in the grand scheme of things, are more just set up for these people ending up joining the Straw Hat Fleet, essentially. But this arc is one of those ones where I have like a lot of things that I really like about it, and just ultimately it's those highlights that kind of stand out for me. But I think this is one of those arcs where it might have been, just for the first one, a bit too long for me to want to go back and consume all of it over again.
Gotcha.
But I mean, we'll see.
Great thing to point out, Red Alchemist. Even when we first meet Sengoku and Dofi during the first Warlord meeting, Sengoku doesn't really scoff at Kuma or Mihawk. But when he sees Dofi show up, he calls him scum of the sea.
Whoa!
Wow.
Oh, that's cool.
That is crazy.
That's really cool. Oh, man, that's awesome. I forgot that Zoro takes out a literal like rock titan. That was a really cool kind of display of his new strength.
And of course, his fight is all about, I need to find my opponent because they're literally the terrain.
Yeah. The fact also that, you know, that little moment where Doflamingo then shoots Law, like in the same way that he shot his brother.
Yeah.
But then also, you know, wondering, you're the Heart Pirates. Yeah, I see what you did there.
Like that. And then Luffy, like later, I don't know if it was at this part or afterwards, but when he stops Dofi's foot from stepping on Law, like, man.
I believe that's.
Oh man, that was so good.
I believe that's close to here, but it's not. It's not here
yet.
Oh,
there it is.
Yeah. There it is, at the end of chapter 781.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was his moment where he's like, and now, this is my fight now.
Right, like if you think about it, okay, I know that this is One Piece and everything and all of that stuff, and it's the rule of cool of the moment, right? But there's something to me that stands out about the fact that the way Luffy stops Dofi's foot, mechanically, physically, would be unbelievably difficult. Even if they were of the same like strength levels or whatever, which, you know, I'm not going to talk about strength levels here and all that. Dofi is just stepping down. Luffy is reaching his foot out, balancing on the one foot, to then keep the other foot up, right? He's working against gravity and against his balance, right?
Yeah.
But he still does it.
It's so freaking
It's just
cool.
this, it's like it's casual. It's just, nope, you don't get to do that.
And this is the moment, of course, where Luffy then goes into fourth gear, gear 4.
And it's ridiculous and hilarious, but also awesome.
It's also just the kind of transformation where you almost get this feeling that Doflamingo is being made fun of here.
Yes.
I want to say it just because it's something that I feel like needs to be said. Gear 4 looks stupid. It looks ridiculous.
Great.
But the fact then that Luffy then proceeds to kick Dofi's ass with this form while he's bouncing around and stuff, I love it so much.
It feels very sort of...
It takes a fat shit all over his ego, basically.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Like probably the earliest example of this that had a bit of impact on me in other stories was the final fight of Kung Fu Panda 1.
Oh, right.
Where it's Po versus Tai Lung, and he's all like, serious, and I've got these crazy powers and stuff. And then it's just, nope. I'm a fluffy, squishy ball, right? Yep. You can't do anything against me, right? Dofi, he's the I am a god. I will rule this world and everything, and if this city, does something that I don't like, then I will slaughter everyone in the city with just, my own will, right?
Yep.
And then Luffy just shows up. Bung, bung, bung.
Yeah.
You're talking mad shit, bro.
Yeah, exactly.
For someone in gum range.
Exactly. It's the idea that Luffy is the same guy that, this celestial dragon is just being a dick here, doing this, auction shit. No, bam, punches him immediately, causing all kinds of chaos. I love so much the fact that Luffy is this boing boing bouncy ridiculous baka coming in and just being like, nope, is so much fun here. And that, of course, Dofi being the mastermind, the criminal genius. No, he got boing boinged by a rubber Hulk, basically, who came in and just was like, and I'm gonna punch the shit out of you. Yeah.
Bold words for someone not on a unicycle.
It is so wonderful.
Oh, yeah, and we just forgot to mention throughout all this that Sabo was, reintroduced.
Yeah.
Yeah, no big deal.
No big deal.
No big deal.
Yeah. Now, of course, Doflamingo is that powerful, so it takes a while before we actually bring him down entirely. But the fact that it came down to this moment where everyone's cheering him on, everyone's, just super excited to have this big bit here where Doflamingo's gone full tentacle monster. He's like, I'm not going to be stopped here.
Yeah, and, I'm not trapped in here with you. You're trapped in here with me.
And it's just one massive boing boing punch ends it all.
So you're saying...
Announcer and everything. Glasses shattered.
Yeah. So Gyat's as the announcer, I love so much. That whole sequence was amazing. I feel like the tournament arc was, yes, to set up the Straw Hat Fleet, but it was also to set up the announcer for the final battle.
Of course.
And in my mind, that makes it all worth it. That's...
And, Dressrosa is over, and we get a really sweet moment where Fujitora ends up being a badass and kind of just says, well, you know what? We screwed up here.
On television.
Yeah. I'm going to take this one.
Oh, man. If there
I'm
was...
going to be the better man and take the high road here.
If there was ever a point where we weren't sure about this new admiral that, got introduced this arc, it's like, nope, here we go.
Yep.
Here we go.
Yep.
This is awesome. This is amazing.
Freaking love Fujitora. Just... God, he's so perfect. And even having this nice little bit where we get to see Akainu going up to to the five elders and being like, so, oh my God, this has gotten way out of hand here. We're gonna make a call and give him orders here because this is too far. I love this moment.
And of course, Smoker is like. That man. Smoker's he is awesome.
With Tashigi. Yep. Oh my God. Yeah. You're out of line. You've caused our justice to lose all face. If your face is all you care about, keep it tucked away where it won't get hurt. If admitting fault means your trust is gone, you didn't have none in the first place.
And everyone else is just like,
shit.
I love how the people, Fujitora's underlings are like, Sir? You do realize who you're talking to right now, right?
Oh my God.
The real irony is how much respect did Fujitora earn by admitting fault? Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
Yep.
Yeah.
True. Oh my God. But then we go into recovery time. Sabo's here. Have a really sweet kind of brother moment there. And then we jump over to the rest of everyone with Caesar and Nami, and they're dealing with some other shit, and it's just like, oh, okay.
And then all of a sudden,
right.
Kaido, he's like,
why won't I die?
Yeah. Mission failed successfully.
I survived again.
I challenged the Earth to a game of chicken and won.
Oh, right. Because technically the Earth was moving,
Well, I mean, it gave way,
It gave way. Yeah.
But all right. Or sorry, not Kaido, Buggy, right? Because as we know, that wasn't Kaido, that was Buggy. Always bet on Buggy.
Always bet on Buggy.
Air, sea, or land. Yeah.
But then we get the kind of the pre-Whole Cake Island little mini arc
the transition arc on the back end of Dressrosa.
Yeah, because I really like that they give us a lot of wind down time for Dressrosa, because getting just the idea that now, like, freaking Luffy has a fleet that he can call upon.
Yep.
Like, these are people that saw what he did and basically set him up to, well, be a real mover and shaker in the world in general.
Oh, yeah.
And there are, let me see, how many?
I want to say there was 8. I feel like I remember there being 8. Might have been 7.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 7.
Yeah, 7.
Right.
And of course, Barto is the spokesperson, I guess.
Even though he's number 2, after Cavendish. Yeah. Details.
Schmetails.
Yeah. Right.
Also, can we just talk about how awesome Barto was in that whole arc in all of Dressrosa?
Yes.
Like, from his introduction, just
MVP
being excellent.
introductory character other than Fujitora.
Yep. His introduction, fantastic. But then all the moments that he gets throughout the arc where it's like, okay, on the one hand, we're like, yes, this guy's hilarious and he's a great audience insert and whatnot, and it's wonderful. But then at the same time, it's like, no, there's some serious moments. Like the part where he's like, I'm going to keep the steps up, so that people can climb up the levels of the city and everything, which leaves him completely defenseless. Hell yeah.
Yeah. Oh, that's right. Yeah, I was coming up to it. Remy's, but Sengoku and Law getting to talk, about Corazon.
That's right.
Yeah, that was a really sweet moment. Yeah. Just kind of a realization that while Sengoku is definitely retired,
Yeah.
He's
retired.
He's still out there.
I don't need to, I don't need to bring you in or anything like that. Not my division.
Just the moment where there was one time where that guy lied to me. And, yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, it was really sweet. Yeah. I love Oda's respect for all the old characters.
Yes.
There are very few old characters that he, I would say, writes in a lazy way. And I'm
even
not saying
then,
that he's writing anyone in a lazy way, but basically saying that he almost goes above and beyond to make sure
with
the old characters get a lot of proper respect as being big movers and shakers in the story because they've been around for a while.
Yep.
Also, I forgot, Fujitora has that moment where he just kind of holds up
a city
that's in rubble above all the ships. Basically just being like, you guys will need to run.
I can, you don't want to get caught up in this. I'm so powerful, I can definitely handle this myself.
Right. Exactly. He's like, oh, I did my job. Oh, no, you better not get in the way because you might get caught in this. I can't, protect my power.
This is a big city right here. I can't exactly be precise with it.
But yeah, here we go. We have the Straw Hat Fleet, which is called, what are they called?
The Straw Hat Fan Club. No,
no, they have like a name, right? Under the affiliation of the Straw Hat Pirates, so they actually don't have their name at that bit here. Oh, right. Luffy's whole thing of, I don't want y'all following me. It'll cramp my style.
Yeah.
They're just like...
And they're like, wait a minute.
Wait, what?
We're literally offering you, like, a lot.
Why will you not accept that? Mm-hmm. Straw Hat Grand Fleet. That's right. That's right. One of the craziest things I've always wondered is that what complete monsters like Fuji and other admirals were doing prior to this marine draft. Oh, sure. Yeah.
Oh, I wish I could have seen your face once, Luffy. I bet it would be kind. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And they have their feast.
Because you gotta have feast.
The rubble starts falling. You know, they're already long gone. And Fujitora's like, well, you have my utmost thanks.
Mm-hmm.
Appreciate it. It's good. Okay. So then we go and have a little montage around the world, see kind of what's going on everywhere else as they deal with this whole thing there. We get to see the worst generation going out and doing their stuff. We see even Dofi all chained up, kind of giving a bit of
his final monologue.
Prophecy of sorts. Well, not necessarily final.
Well,
he might have just been gotten free.
Well, all right, that is a great point. But yeah, it's the whole thing of, okay, you may have defeated me,
right?
But you defeated my
power base.
You defeated my power base. You defeated my plans. You did not defeat me as a person. Well, you defeated me in battle, but not
definitely in battle.
But you did not defeat my ideology, right? I still believe what I believe, and if given the chance, I will do it again.
Yep. And he has his prophecy that all of this is going to build up to kick off the greatest battle for power in the history of pirate kind.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then, of course, we see someone with eyes set on the ship and fleet that he's with.
And he just so happens to be unlucky enough that that Sengoku and Fujitora are on those boats.
I mean, yeah, but we'll see. We'll see how that goes. Yeah. Also, I love that the updated bounties come in, and God Usopp is now the official name of Usopp.
Right.
Just
and he
on
is,
the bounty.
And he's number 3 highest.
He is number 3.
He's above Sanji.
Yep.
Like.
Yep. Exactly. Exactly. Yep. It's fantastic. Fantastic stuff. So, Zoe being an arc that kind of gives us a bit of the world of One Piece is big and crazy, but also remember the poneglyphs? Remember
those things that have been
the
built
lost
up since
century, you know,
forever ago.
Do you remember this kind of focus on the history of One Piece being something that's well, a bit mysterious? I really liked that because every once in a while, some of the politicking in the conflict can feel a bit like it's not really something that the Straw Hats really care about.
Oh, sure.
It's more that their friends care about, so they care about their friends.
Right.
But this is a conflict that is intrinsically Robin's. Like, Robin is the archaeologist of sorts. She's the historian, the one who was from that island that could translate the stuff on the poneglyphs.
And until this point, we didn't have any reason for the Straw Hats truly to care about it on their own, but more importantly, we did not have a pathway to the end of One Piece, right? We knew that eventually you find the One Piece, and that's probably going to be where the story more or less ends. But now we actually have
them coming to the end of the
right. But now we have an actual set of checkpoints of like, okay, if we get the 4 road poneglyphs, then we can get to the final island and everything. Boom,
Raftel.
Yeah, Raftel. There we go. Right. Yep. That is more or less probably the end of the story. Okay. All right.
And that's just something that I didn't expect them to just suddenly drop on us. A lot of the new characters with the minks and stuff, it's I would say they're no tontatas.
They're no tontatas, and it's okay, Oda. We understand. You wanted to have cat girls and things like that in your story. Bunny girls and you know,
and big Garfield, like massive cats and stuff.
Yes.
And old doggos that are scarred.
That's right.
Like I love that. But I was way more excited about the massive elephant than I was for the minks, just in general. The elephant and the sense of scale that we got from being on top of this thing.
Oh yeah, it was awesome.
That was so freaking
But what
cool.
excites me about the minks is that they're sticking around.
Yes.
So if they're sticking around, that gives them more of a chance to potentially turn into like fully fledged like characters in the ensemble, you know?
Yeah. And that's really exciting.
Yep.
So the Zoe arc in that respect is just like the final little bit of setup.
Like let's get you some lore.
Before we get into an Emperor of the Sea versus Luffy and the Straw Hats kind of conflict. And these were thick volumes. These were really chunky ones. And it was this last one, 82, where we actually get the full details on a lot of the stuff that's being set up with Momonosuke and Kinemon, you know, through their homeland and stuff of Wano, and then the realization that, you know, we are trying to essentially go back to Wano and, you know, strike down their leaders and stuff so that they can be free. And Momonosuke will be kind of their prince that they'll be heading the charge for. They'll be his supporters, his backers, if that makes sense. But just the sense of scale of just, oh yeah, we have a massive elephant.
Yep, it's just a thing that exists in the world.
Just a big fight with this here. The elephant speaks out. And like, Luffy and Momonosuke hear it.
Yeah, so
it just made the world feel big and exciting again.
Yeah, I actually kind of want to talk about that for a little bit, because one of the things that I kind of had a sense of before getting into One Piece is that I had seen a bunch of like images of like character designs and things like that, right? Knowing nothing about it. And the two things that I got was that these character designs are very, very wacky, right? And I wasn't sure if I really was a fan of it, you know, not having been introduced to the actual story and whatnot. But then the other one is that a lot of these characters feel ridiculously big. Like just unbelievably large, right?
Yeah.
What's the point of that exactly? But then as we get into the story and the world's huge and all this stuff and all of this starts to unpack, and then we get things like the elephant that is, you know, has an island on its back, and it's like, no, that's a good point. Yeah, there was that part of me that always wanted to see like a truly massive dragon or something like that. That's, you know the Caligon, the Black Dread that, you know, spans the two mountains and things like that, right?
Cimmerian level shit.
Right, exactly. And One Piece is like, yep, we're wacky and crazy enough. We're going to get into that, and it might not even be big parts of the plot. It's just we go to a place and here's an elephant that has an island on its back.
Ocean.
Yeah, that walks through the ocean. And then if you want to see the reference art for how that would work, it's terrifying and it will haunt your nightmares. But
oh my god, yeah. Nami actually brings this up near the end of Zoe, that even though she got a new log pose made for the new world, only to run off course immediately with the SOS from Punk Hazard, Eternal pose to Dressrosa from Law, and then follow Beppo's Vivre card into Zoe. Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah, that's true. That is true. They are kind of bumping from place to place without a defined course to be set going through them.
Momo talking to giant elephants, Shirahoshi talking to sea kings. What's next? Usopp talking to Zawarudo? Yes.
Possible.
Yes.
Okay, hold the phone. You better respect the minks because Master Right So is safe. This was actually one of those twists. Yeah, go ahead.
Oh,
no, go ahead.
Well, so I loved that twist. I love that twist. Excellent. We still haven't spent too much time with them though, and that was something that made it so that I cared about them as a people, as a group.
Yeah.
About individuals within their group, and of the ones that are currently traveling with the Straw Hats, less so.
Yeah.
My favorite two of the minks thus far would be the two leaders, right?
Yeah.
Which aren't going with them. We've got Pedro and the other ones, you know, and like the bunny girl and everything. Like, and yeah, they're great, right? And I'm excited to see their interactions with the crew.
Yeah.
But that's something that I consider to be not things that build up the individuals. I mean, it kind of does by extension, but more of things that just build up the idea of the minks.
Yeah. Also, I was just going to say that the Right So kind of twist just in general was one I didn't even fully get. So, like, when brought up, it was something where I was like, but isn't this just a character that was just recently brought up as a like a backstory. Character that like it didn't feel like it was something that had been built up for a long time.
That is a good point. I wonder if the difference in experience that we had with the with that whole reveal might be as a result of reading the manga. Because one, it's not something that we're doing week to week, so we're going through it a lot faster, but we're also not watching the anime. And I get the feeling
you guys might have been actually going through the manga yourself week to week from a chapter when it happened.
And I would not be surprised if that was the case. And whether it's chapter week to week or episodes, I get the feeling that would have made it stretch out a lot longer because Zo as a whole, 3 volumes. Here we go, right? So I think we basically got like the buildup of the buildup of the character, right? And oh yeah, he's not here, right? And then Raizo is safe at the end of the next volume, I think is what it ended up being.
Right, and that's just something that I feel like needs to be understood, is because we're not reading it in the same way, and you guys are going to go all in depth, like you're saying, like you go in depth for 2 hours discussing each chapter. That makes perfect sense. But that's also why then certain things are going to be ones that leap out to us more because they stand out when you're going through so much One Piece content in a day, basically.
Yeah.
And of course, there will be a point eventually where we're all caught up with you guys, and then any new bit of One Piece content is great, but it's not going to be in volume chunks.
And don't get me wrong, I love Zo as a spot. I love and I love the fact that it's short, right? It's short and sweet. It gets to the point, right?
It's 2.5 volumes.
Yeah, exactly. It's got great world building in there and everything. It doesn't overstay its welcome. It does what it wants to do, and then we move on to the big mama stuff, whole cake and everything.
Sanji,
right, with Sanji. Like that's really good stuff. It's just, but because it's a shorter thing, it wouldn't have probably the same impact, I'm guessing, on me that it would have had for you guys. For you guys, just because it's 3 weeks versus
right
13 weeks.
It's funny how you guys feel about the mines, considering most of the community agrees that the Minx and Zo as an arc are phenomenal. This is where reading weekly 20-ish weeks versus volume per week 3 weeks is vastly different. Yep. Very good point. Minx by far are the most popular folk in the One Piece fandom.
Really?
Oh, I know exactly why.
Oh, yeah, right.
It's not hard to understand at all.
Well, and also
makes perfect sense.
I also would say that one of the reasons why, and maybe this is again why, with the Tontatas, we probably have a better experience with them than a lot of anime fans for One Piece, is because if Dressrosa pacing-wise was as bad as people said it was, then I could totally see all the stuff with the Tontatas wearing thin, basically.
Sure.
Or your patience with the Tontatas wearing thin, because you're spending so much time with them, right? Yep. Whereas, for us, it's like, okay, yes, it was definitely longer than, a lot of the stuff we'd gotten recently, but it was still just 9 weeks. Just 9 weeks, right?
That's actually crazy to think about, guys. Can you please tell me, anime adaptation-wise, how many years was this?
I think it was 2.
Was it 2?
I think it was 2 years.
Well, someone in chat, give us the details here. For the Dressrosa arc...
Actually, it might have been a lot more than 2 years.
How much time was this? Because for us, it was 9 weeks.
Yeah, for us, it was 9 weeks.
That. We went through all of Dressrosa in 9 weeks.
9... So this is probably a solid 100 chapters or so. Or
no, it's
almost.
More. It's more.
119 episodes. Yeah, so that's over 2 years. 2.5? Yeah, okay.
Wow.
Yeah. That is crazy.
Ooh. Dressrosa felt awfully long for me in the anime. I got real surprised while reading the manga. Okay. Yeah. Damn. Yeah. More bits coming in from Bayanor. 100 bits, but if you think about what Fujitora did, I don't know, it's kind of scummy. I mean, don't get me wrong. He did the right thing at the end, but he basically didn't fight Doflamingo at the start just so he can set up a moment where he publicly apologizes. But wait a sec. Could he just beat Doflamingo and expose him instead of making things harder for the people fighting the fascist dictator? I don't know. That kind of doesn't sit right with me. Yeah, he might have used things a little bit to build up the world government a bit, but we'll see.
Yeah.
Bayonet with the 100 bits. By the way, once you're fully caught up, whether you decide to end at the last physical volume or you switch the online release on Viz website, we do a podcast about all of One Piece. I can't imagine how long it would be, but if you do that, it's going to be amazing. Well, it will be fun to have caught up to One Piece types of content.
Mm-hmm.
Where it's like, oh, we do a tier list, or we do like
we're ranking all the arcs of One Piece,
or just a discussion on like a specific theme in One Piece. You know, not an arc limited one where it's just like we're gonna take the breadth of One Piece, of all our One Piece knowledge, and extract 2% of it spread out across all the stuff, and then talk about like, you know, something about it, and that could be fun. Yeah,
I will say
we'll see.
The fact that Dressrosa is, you're gonna hate me for saying this, but only 119 episodes. I actually thought it would be a bit more, because the thing that I had heard is that there were points where One Piece would average about half a chapter per episode. Oh. But maybe those are like actually just the parts where it's really bad and it doesn't actually average to that, you know?
I think what the thing is that there are probably parts in Dressrosa where pacing wise it's actually fine. It's just that there are other parts where it's really slow.
It goes down to a crawl.
Yeah. And those are probably on the fights.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Oh, man. Dressrosa started March 4th, 2013 in the manga and ended September 28th, 2015.
Wow.
That is a long time. Dressrosa in the anime starts...
Good clarification there, Vracos. He couldn't attack him because Dofi has warlord protection. It's the entire reason why he openly told him that he wants to abolish the warlord system.
Right.
Gotcha. Okay.
But yeah, so then the anime started Dressrosa January 19th, 2014 and ended June 19th, 2016. That is...
Okay.
A lot.
One episode felt like 5, though, in a bad way. The average for One Piece is more like 1 chapter an episode. Most anime adapt 3 chapters an episode.
Right.
Yeah. That makes a lot of sense. Okay, so ending Zoe with just the realization, though, that our boy Sanji is going to be married off to... well, someone.
He is the damsel in distress.
And we end up
Princess we must save.
Yeah, and then we end up getting introduced to the Vinsmokes. And it's the whole twist of, wait, that's right. Sanji, we don't really know much about him pre-Bharati and stuff. So now we get the ultimate twist that his family, he's kind of an escaped heir prince of sorts from that whole thing.
Yep.
And I'll just say, these types of stories in One Piece where they take a member of the Straw Hat crew and extrapolate out of it this dramatic conflict, like, Oda, keep doing that. I want a Zoro-focused one, though, at some point.
Yeah, we need to take the whole thing of, okay, Kuina fell down the stairs, she took a bad fall, right? But then also there's that whole thing of, Tashigi kind of seems to remind him of Kuina a little bit.
Yeah.
You know? What's going on there?
Even if it's something with newly introduced characters or some stuff that, you know, Oda has been setting up for Zoro, I want that to happen in this similar way to Sanji. Not in that it has to be done through the same type of story conflict, because that just doesn't make sense.
Here's what it'll be.
Yeah.
Straw Hats are in danger, right? Luffy's, you know, with them and all that stuff. But the thing is that Luffy on his own isn't enough. Right?
Okay.
And he needs the number 2 strongest Straw Hat, because it's definitely Zoro, to be there with him.
Right.
But Zoro can't find them.
Oh my god.
And then we get a My Neighbor Totoro sort of thing, where Zoro is running around looking for his lost family.
Oh no! Oh no! I mean, we are going to Wano, the samurai place kill. Yes, I'm aware.
That's true.
And in some ways, I'm kind of expecting some Zoro focus in Wano, because it makes sense if it's a place that is based on almost a
culture that revolves around the way of the sword.
Right. Some kind of almost like Japan, kind of feudal Japan focus kind of potential thing. Even Wano as a name feels like it could be a reference in some ways. That would be perfect, right?
Yeah.
So I'm wanting to speak it into being, but I don't know how close we are to the end of catching up to, things in general, so.
Man, when was, because Okay, one of the things I will say is that we have had some good emotionally vulnerable moments with Zoro, but they take a different form than Oda does for most of the other characters.
True.
Because Zoro is definitely the least emotional of the party.
100%.
100%.
100%.
As a result, the things that he usually does, the times when his emotions come into play, is when there's strife within the party.
Right.
When he needs to be that level head in the group and basically be like, "Hey, I'm the first mate, captain. Let me tell you something. We need to have this talk." Right.
Right.
The stuff with Usopp and everything, that was a great example.
Yep.
Right.
Great example.
Great example. Now, I don't know what would necessarily bring about something like that again, but if that was the direction that Oda wanted to take Zoro focus. I don't know how he'd do it, but I could see that being the way that he would do it, right? Because it wouldn't, I feel like it wouldn't really make sense for Zoro to have a deeply emotional, okay, I'm sobbing, and
it doesn't have to sob though for it to be emotional.
Oh, totally. I mean,
they're saying in chat, nothing happened. Remember?
Yep. That's very true.
Don't need to have him cry for it to be an emotional emotional scene. Yeah. I would very much like a bit with Zoro where it's about him learning to lose, maybe, or learning to keep going in the face of defeat.
Sure.
Like if Zoro was in a state of constant defeat, like over and over and over,
gut style,
again,
basically.
Yeah, gut style. Zoro would be the perfect character to get into that, like, struggler kind of
right.
Like,
and maybe
moment,
if the rest of the crew is down on themselves too, because maybe they're fighting emperors and it's like this isn't going well, and then Zoro's like, "Come on, let's keep going."
I just gleeked all over myself. But yeah. Oh, that was the one time that he cried. Oh wow.
Which time?
People are talking about it in chat there. Yeah. Cool. Zoro already learned to lose against Mihawk.
That's true.
Yeah, but that was really early. I mean, that was
a long time ago.
Really early. And what has been Zoro's toughest fight really since then?
That's actually one of the things that's been kind of interesting. And it's helped keep Zoro at like that rule of cool kind of a thing. But he hasn't been in a lot of actually tough fights.
Nope.
He hasn't really been the ones that fight against the main bosses. When he does, even with things like Hody, he one-shots them in their own element, right?
Yep.
And then we've got things like Pika, where it's all right, I can cut a mountain. I just need to find the right place to do it. It's not a question of Zoro's strength. So what happens?
Oh, Kuma.
Well, yes.
Kuma, that was, yeah.
But if you think about it, that was still a long time ago. Like as far as One Piece as a whole.
That's probably the closest because that was pre-time skip. But it was also, I would say, a moment where no one was going to win there.
Right.
The Straw Hats all needed to leave, otherwise they would have TPK'd.
Yep.
Yeah. Mr. One. Oh my God, Mr. One. That's so far back.
Oh yeah, going back to Alabasta.
Oh yeah.
Well, even Kaku wasn't really a hard fight. He had to fight with an Usopp on his arm.
Yeah.
And weren't there actually two of them? Wasn't it that Usopp was fighting somebody who he couldn't really fight, and then Zoro was also fighting Kaku? Yeah. So like Oda has done a really good job of building up Zoro to be that like ultimate serious badass to compensate for Luffy as the silly badass, right?
Psychrony, it's exactly right. It's kind of a running joke where Oda has to severely handicap Zoro one way or another to keep him from kicking too much ass every arc. Yeah. He tends to fight guys with annoying gimmicks.
Exactly. It's the Toph situation, right? In order to keep him really cool, you can't have him actually be in the situation where he's fighting the main baddie. Otherwise, he does something dumb like move the ground under their feet when you have a surprise attack. You know, can't have that.
Anera one-shot Zoro.
Yeah, but that
wasn't a fight though.
Yeah, like Enero is a weird one in general.
Enero is a weird villain in general
because he didn't fight anyone. He smoked people, and then he smoked Luffy, and it didn't do anything.
It didn't work.
And it didn't work. It didn't work.
Yeah, so that wasn't really a fight. Yeah.
Like, I am very
God
excited.
just decided to find Zoro because Zoro couldn't find him. You know?
Exactly. Like, I am really excited to see Zoro get into an actual serious fight.
Right.
Where it's like someone badass, someone that he can take seriously, someone where there isn't a situation where Zoro's, gimped or gimmicked or not that word, but, handicapped in some way, right? Yeah. I'm very curious to see how that would go.
Oh, Jenny Monty, thanks for another 1,000 bits. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Yeah, post-time skip, his fights were easy. He just needs tougher fights. Yeah,
yep.
Yeah, I agree.
Well, let's be honest, having God Usopp as a weapon is an auto win.
Oh, that's true. That's really true. Oh my goodness. Oh, that's awesome. That's awesome. Okay, guys. So tomorrow we're continuing with One Piece. Whole Cake Island is a lot of fun right now. Mm-hmm. We've got a wedding about to take place, but people know things that other people don't think they know about what they know.
Well. And apparently Oda is a fan of Game of Thrones, mayhaps, because this is going to be a bloody wedding,
very colorful wedding.
Yeah.
So, y'all, be sure to tune in for that tomorrow.
Right.
That's going to be a hell of a time. And for those of you that is this your first time to the channel, I don't know. I saw a bunch of people talking earlier about like, wait, what? Who are these guys? What's going on?
Yeah.
We're just some anime, related YouTubers and stuff. We talk about a lot of shows that we like, but this is the one area where we do a little bit more on the manga-related side of things, and specifically One Piece, because One Piece manga is goated for a reason, and we're having a lot of fun with it. So be sure to tune in tomorrow, 3 p.m. Pacific time. Remember, guys, daylight savings did happen, so be sure to check your clocks, because America's weird, and we have this thing where
Indeed.
We lose an hour on in the springtime. So
yeah.
All
right,
gangsta Gangsta. Yeah. So many characters.
I love how he did his hair for that too. To be like, I'm a completely different person. What are you talking about? You don't know me.
The funny thing was that when he did that, I immediately went huh? And then my brain couldn't keep me from going to the left, and I just saw the page where Luffy was like, I'm like, yeah, that's Caesar. Yeah.
Although to be fair, that goes to show that Luffy has grown much stronger.
That's true.
Because
is this observation hockey?
Right, because he didn't realize that Sniper King was Usopp.
That's true.
Assuming Sniper King is Usopp. They've never confirmed or denied that.
And Gastino, that look might as well be as good as the disguise or the alternate look.
Yep.
That Sniper King was.
All right, this is okay. Caesar, let's talk for a minute here. You were with the Straw Hats for a long-ass time.
Very long time.
If you had talked to them, you could have heard about Sniper King.
Yep.
If you had done that and paid attention and things like that, you could have realized that all you needed was a mask, and Luffy wouldn't know who you are. Chopper wouldn't either.
Nope.
You could have done that, but you didn't.
But now
it's
you're
your
going
own
to
fault.
face Chopper's wrath.
You have to face Chopper's wrath, and he will shove his hooves where the sun don't shine. He
knows how to use those hooves.
A whole world of hurt.
He has a master's in biology.
You want to see him in his hulked out form and
doing
surgery or all sorts of other things like
disassembling you.
No, that would not go well for you.
Yeah, Caesar is a surprisingly multi-purpose character. Caesar is one of those characters that when we were talking about how we're going to do this podcast, I was like, hey, Jacob, do you realize how much Caesar has just kind of gone through all this?
Imagine. Okay, no. It's
not kind of crazy to think about, right?
It is not going to happen.
He's still around.
But if Oda wanted to really, really flex on us of like, hey, I can make you care about anyone.
Oh my God.
It's not going to happen. There's a part of me that really hopes it doesn't happen, but at the same time, because Oda, I feel like, is just flexing at this point.
He's drunk on his own power.
Yep. I believe that he could and would do it, right?
He could actually do it.
Like, he could actually do it.
Yep.
But eventually turning Caesar into an actual sympathetic character where we cry for him.
Yeah.
Like...
Yeah.
But there'd be a long way to have to go to get there.
It's okay. Like, not necessarily going to happen.
Mm-hmm. Now,
but if it did, we called it here.
Right. He did it with Bellamy. Now, there's a big difference between wrecking a ship and torturing children.
Yes.
But if Oda wanted to like move up to that next bit of emotional weight to lift and hit us with.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Jenny Monty, thanks for the 100 bits. Let's crash this wedding. Ha ha ha. Yes. Wedding crashers.
That's when you say, object.
Care about Caesar? Oda, challenge accepted.
Oh, God.
No. There are plenty of other characters for Straw Hats that need to be considered next. Like, plenty of others. Like Barto.
Yep.
Jimbei.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. Kinemon. Like, Foxfire Kinemon.
Yes.
He's a fantastic... Well, he's kind of loyal to Momonosuke, so... Maybe not. Possible. Who would it be? Well, we could do one of the Minks. One of the Minks has potential.
Sure.
One of the Straw Hats. Yeah.
Sure.
Carrot.
Yeah.
Has potential there. Yeah.
Yeah. Not pudding anymore.
God
Not
damn it!
pudding.
We have Caesar for Straw Hats. Can't believe we reached far enough for them to make this meme. One of the things that's my favorite part about getting into an anime or just any kind of fandom in general is when you end up so into it that you accidentally create a meme within the fandom and it just takes a life of its own and spreads.
Well, the thing is,
it's beautiful.
I would not be surprised at all if this meme just already existed in One Piece.
Oh, it
probably
does.
Like, One Piece is so big and everything, like...
And Pedro. Pedro is a Chad.
That's true. Pedro is pretty awesome.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
What are you saying? Putting us a sweetheart.
Yeah. Jimbei already has an offer standing. Exactly. We're just waiting on him to eventually say yes. It's probably going to happen when they defeat Big Mom. Yeah.
Probably.
Yeah. But, okay.
Here we are.
Guys, thank you so much for tuning into the podcast, hanging out, the discussion, the full conversation here. It's a lot of fun. And, that's another 16 volumes of One Piece.
We are getting... closer and closer to being caught up with One Piece.
The endo.
Yeah. Like, what is life even going to be at that point? Like,
what will it mean?
What will it mean? Because
what will my Tuesdays even mean anymore?
I know. Because, okay, so I know there are a lot of people that really wish we would go through content faster, you know? But we do the consistent pace because we get more out of it that way. We enjoy it more that way, right?
You don't want that.
It's better.
You don't want that.
Only 11 more to go. Only 10. Oh my God. But one of the things that happens as a result of that is that we spend a lot of time with the shows. They become parts of our life, right? Our schedules and our worlds revolve around these worlds that we go into,
it's
right?
It's so crazy to think about because my emotional wavelength of every week is resonant with One Piece's story.
One Piece is a depth charge going into the lake that is our lives on a regular basis, right? Because you don't just do a casual One Piece read through. Like, that doesn't happen, right? Like, it absolutely drains us to our core, where usually on Tuesdays after we're done, it's just, okay, now let's do literally anything else that's just
I walk
absolutely
out that
nothing.
door back there, turn left, go into my bed, just...
Yeah, exactly. Right. It's just... It takes a lot out of us. The idea that soon that just won't be happening anymore...
We have manga already, guys, that we're thinking about.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
It will be the post-One Piece world and all
exactly.
That. So don't worry. We don't need any suggestions in this regard there. We already have, I would say...
We've basically decided.
We've basically decided the one. There's two others that are big contenders, though. Mm-hmm. More because of their length, really. Less so than them being the most contested one. But,
yeah.
But we're not talking about that right now, guys, so please don't ask. Please don't ask.
Nope.
Please don't ask. No, it will not be Bleach. No, it is 100,000% not going to be Bleach.
Oh,
no,
man.
No, it's not. It's not going to, no.
Oh, man.
But, y'all, you guys are fantastic. Mm-hmm. Hope to see you tomorrow. Take care, and we'll see you in the next one. But until then, we're Semblance of Sanity. I'm Caleb.
I'm Jacob.
And we'll see you all next time.
Also, we forgot to mention we do other streams throughout the week, all at 3 p.m. Pacific time
every
weekday. Mondays we do podcasts. It's been Attack on Titan episode analysis, recaps, and discussions until now, but there wasn't an episode this week, so
Wednesdays and Fridays. I'm playing The Witcher Thronebreaker Tales. It's a fun little isometric RPG with some card game puzzles and stuff.
Yep, really good stuff. And then on Thursdays, Nier Automata. Yeah. Man, it's been a long time since I've played an open world game, but I'm getting into it. And the skirt is
it's beautiful, right?
Is going away.
One of my Frisbee teammates' brothers is watching your playthrough of Nier Automata.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Because they found out about our Hajime no Ippo reactions. They're like, oh, these guys are cool. And then the guy's a huge fan of Nier Automata. So
it's such a good game.
Streams,
like the music just keeps blowing me away. And
right?
like the visuals, like me.
Like the
man. Well, okay, yeah, that too.
Say what you really feel about it though.
That